my craft friends. I have a question for you. Are you into crafting for Christmas as much as I am? If so, you've arrived at the right video, because this is part 1 of a 4-part series where we're going to be celebrating Christmas in July with all brand new Christmas projects. So let's go ahead and get started with part 1. To start DIY number 1, we're going to be using one of these wood pallets from the Dollar Tree, along with these wood cutout trees, also from the Dollar Tree, and this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. And to start, we're going to apply a good amount of this stick glue to the front side of our wood pallet. Then we're going to attach our scrapbook paper. Now that we have it attached, we're just going to press it into our glue and wood surface. Then we're going to set it aside to dry. While that's drying, we're going to paint our trees. And I'm going to be staining the bottom base or trunks of our trees, and I'm going to be painting the trees green. But first, I needed to trim off those little notches on the bottom of the wood trees. Now that that's done, I'm just going to, like I said, paint my trees green, and I'm going to paint the trunks in a brown stain. And to do this, I'm going to be using a makeup sponge. Then your trees will look something like this. We're going to set those aside to dry, and we're going to bring back in our wood palette with the scrapbook paper on it. We're going to trim away the scrapbook paper, and then we're going to sand with some sandpaper in between the slats of the wood palette. Now you could just leave this as is, but I thought the slats, being able to see the slats, really made this project pop. And you can cut it one of two ways. You can cut it with some scissors down the slats, or what I did is I used an X-Acto knife, cut down the center of the spaces, and then I brought in my sandpaper and finished off cleaning up the edges. And I found it easiest to just drag along the edge with my sandpaper. Okay, now we have all of them done, and I think it looks so pretty being able to see those slats. Now we're going to bring back in our trees, and I want to add a little bit of snow to the branches of my tree. So I just took a little bit of this acrylic white and a small paintbrush and dabbed it on. This step really added some definition to the trees. Look at how cute they look. Now we're going to set that paint aside. We're going to bring back in our little palette, and we're going to glue our trees to the front of our palette. Then you're left with this beautiful little snowy Christmas scene. Now you could turn this into an ornament or just use it as a piece of tiered tray decor as well. Now we're moving on to DIY number 2. For this one, we're going to need a cone of some sort. We're going to need some round foam pieces, which I purchased from the Dollar Tree. I also purchased these round wood discs from Hobby Lobby, along with this little spindle. I think I got this at Lowe's or Home Depot, and some fabric of your choice. We start by laying our fabric out, and what we're going to do, or what we want to do, is we're going to cover our cone shape in this fabric. Now, sometimes this can be a little tricky, covering a round, odd shape like this, but I found it kind of easiest to start in the corner with this pointy cone and then take a piece of chalk and trace around as I rolled it along the fabric. And then once I had the line drawn, I cut with my scissors about 1 inch outside of the chalk line. Then we're going to glue our fabric to our cone. And for that, I just used hot glue along the seam and then rolled it around my tree and glued it down the seam as well. Then I trimmed the fabric away and finished gluing the seam down. And then, like I said, once I got it around my cone, I trimmed it off and then just added some more hot glue to seal the seam down. I also trimmed off the top side, added a little dot of hot glue inside the fabric, and pressed it together. Then, to finish the bottom, I just put a bead of hot glue around the inside of our cone and folded the fabric inside. Now we have this beautiful plaid cone. Now we're going to take our styrofoam rounds, we're going to trim them down to fit inside of our plaid cone. And to do that, I just used a pair of sharp scissors. Once we have our foam round cut down, we'll just add some hot glue around the outer edge and shove it inside of the cone. Then you'll have something that looks like this. Next, we're going to be processing our wood pieces, and I'm going to be staining mine in this gel stain from Hobby Lobby in a dark walnut. I'm going to stain both of my pieces, leaving the top side of the wood round the raw wood. Now you'll see why I left that bare without the stain on the bottom and the top of the wood round, because we're going to be gluing it to the center of our wood round. Then we're going to come back in with our stain and finish staining everything. And once I had those two items stained, I wanted to glue the cone to the top of my little spindle. And to do that, I added a bare wood round to the styrofoam on the bottom of my cone and then glued that to the top of my spindle. This gave it a lot more security than just gluing it to the styrofoam. Now that we have the cone glued on to our spindle, we're going to add a little bit of trim with this placemat. I purchased this from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to be using the fringe or the ruffled part of the burlap. I'm going to trim it away from the placemat and then glue it to the bottom of our cone. This is looking so adorable. I'm so in love with this little project. Now we need to add a star to our cone tree, which I'm sure you've guessed, we're making a tree. So we're going to add this little metal star to the top of our cone. And I just glued it to the top with some hot glue. Then we're left with this beautiful plaid Christmas tree. And I'm making a set of 3 for my living room. Now we're moving on to DIY number 3. For this DIY, we're going to need some of this greenery I purchased from Hobby Lobby. We're going to be using this cute little Merry Christmas banner, also purchased from Hobby Lobby, a wood round measuring 10 inches, and some scrapbook paper. This is a simple craft, yet it turned out so adorable. To start, we're going to take a piece of the scrapbook paper and we're going to glue it to the front side of our wood round. Also, if you're interested, I purchased this pack of scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby and it is gorgeous. It's all like Christmas theme. But for this DIY, I'm going to be using these Christmas trees to tie in with our other DIYs that we've done. Now that we have our scrapbook paper picked out, I'm going to be using this little tree pattern. And to stick my paper down to the wood round, I find it's best to use this craft spray adhesive. It really adheres the scrapbook paper to the wood. Now that we have that done, it's dried. I'm going to trim my excess paper from the wood round with my scissors. And if any little bits are left, I just sand them off with some sandpaper. Next, we're going to take our little banner and we're going to glue it to the front of our wood round. But we want it to kind of dangle and be free-flowing, so we're just going to glue the little banner strings to the side of our wood round. So I just made sure they were lined up, flipped it over, and glued the strings down to the back. I then repeated the same process with the second part of the banner. Then you'll have something that looks like this. I love this project so much, but I'm not done yet. I wanted to add a bit of this greenery around the outer edge to finish the project. And you can leave it green, but what I'm going to do is take it outside and I'm going to be painting it with some of this white chalk paint to give it a frosted appearance. Okay, look at how frosty that looks. Now we're just going to take some hot glue and glue it around the outer edge of our wood round. I think this looks so adorable. That really finished that edge off perfectly. But I think it needs one more little detail, and that's going to be adding some of this red and white polka dot ribbon to the top of our wood round. So I just tied a simple bow and glued it to the top of our wood round. Now, you could stop here and turn this into a door hanger, or it could be used for a large ornament in your tree as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this greenery to the back side because I'm going to use mine in a wreath. So I clipped a couple pieces, took some hot glue, glued them down, and covered them with little pieces of felt. Then we're left with this beautiful wreath sign. What do you guys think? I think it turned out adorable. I can't wait to put it on my Christmas wreath. You could also put it on a swag too.